Hello to all my story lovers. Welcome back in Storytime channel. Today's story name is The Axeman, written by the great Sudha Murty. Let's go to the story. A long ago, there lived a scholarly and quick-tempered sage named Jamadagni. He resided in a small home deep in a forest and lived a simple life. Princess Renuka lived a life of luxury in a palace in the capital city of the kingdom. Renuka was both intelligent and stunning. One day she and her friends went to a forest where Jamadagni was staying for a trip. As was destined, Renuka met the sage in his abode. The stark lack of grandeur was apparent in the sage's appearance, and yet the sense of calm and contentment he exuded enchanted the princess. She couldn't tear her eyes away from him. When she returned to the palace, she told her father that she desired to marry Jamadagni. Renuka's father sent word to the sage telling him about his daughter's wish. But Jamadagni refused the proposal. He said, I am a hermit and I reside on the outskirts of the forest with very few comforts. My mind is busy with question of spiritual learning. Renuka is a beautiful princess and she is used to a life of luxurious. She will be unable to adjust to my way of life. But Princess Renuka remained adamant. She went to meet the sage herself in order to convince him. I am sure that I want you to be my life partner and I am prepared to change my way of living to suit yours, she said. Renuka, I don't want you to regret your decision and long for the lost luxurious later on. That in itself will reflect your yearning for your earliest lifestyle, and I am afraid of my temper may lead to some terrible curse that will spell your doom. I will not take such a risk. It's better that we don't marry. I swear I will forget my past life completely and never ever think of it once we are married, replied the princess. She was persistent and in time Jamadagni gave in. Soon the two were wed and Renuka began to live her husband's simple, austere way of life. Later they had many children, the eldest of whom was Parshurama. He grew up to be an obedient son devoted to his parents. His temper, however, was inherited from his father. One day when Renuka was fetching water from the river nearby, she saw a Gandharva and Apsara locked in a passionate embrace. For an instant she forgot about the vow she had taken before her marriage and envied the couple their love and their luxurious they obviously possess. By the time she reached home, her husband had already realized through his spiritual powers that she had broken her vow. Losing his temper along with his common sense, he roared, I warn you, Renuka, you know the punishment for this. Why, oh, why did you marry me? In fury, Jamadagni ordered his children one by one to kill their mother, but they all refused. Parshurama, who had just arrived home, immediately sensed the tension in the air and asked his father, What's the matter? Sage replied, Will you help me, son? Of course, I promise I will do whatever it is you need me to do. You must kill your mother, said the sage. Reluctantly, Parshurama nodded and executed his father's order. After the deed was done, Jamadagni said, I can only imagine how hard that was for you, my son. Ask me whatever you desire, and I will give it to you. Bring my mother back and erase the memory of this tragedy from her mind. That's all I ask, replied Parshurama instantly. Said Jamadagni smiled and brought Renuka back to life. Years later, when Jamadagni was performing penance, Kartavirya Arjuna, the ruler of the land, came to visit him in the ashram. Arjuna was known for his cruel nature. Despite the king's reputation, the sage took care of him and his retinue in the grand fashion that the king was accustomed to. Arjuna was surprised to see such prosperity in sage home. Tell me, how can you afford to treat my men so grandly? The truth is, I have been blessed with wonderful cow, Nandini, the daughter of the divine Kamdhenu. She gives us whatever we need, but we don't use her for our needs every day. As a hermit, my disciple and family lead a simple life. We don't have property, we don't store anything or buy anything that is not absolutely essential. However, when the guests like you come to my home, I request Nandini to fulfill their desires. If there is anything you admire in my humble home, it is not mine but rather Nandini's gift to you. That's simply wonderful, dear Jamadagni, said the king, while in his heart he was consumed by envy. I must own this cow, he thought. She will be helpful to our army in times of war. Arjuna turned to Sage and asked, will you give Nandini to me? In return, I will always give you whatever you want. Jamadagni shook his head. Nandini is not to be used for material gains, my king. She is meant to live in Sage's abode. The king returned to his palace unhappy. Once he was home, he told his family about the magical cow. His commander and children decided that they must possess the cow, no matter the cost. The king's soldiers stormed the ashram and took the cow by force. When Jamadagni tried to stop them, the soldiers killed him. Parshurama, who had been away from the ashram that day, came back to find his mother beside herself and his brothers in deep sorrow. When he learned what had happened, he vowed to avenge his fathers with his powerful axe. He defeating Kartavirya Arjuna as well as all the arrogant and ruthless king he could lay his hands on. From that day onwards, he was called Parshurama, from the word Parsu, which means axe. He conquered the world 16 times and gave away the land and treasures to the ascetics. Himself an avatar of Vishnu, Parshurama meets another avatar, Rama, during Sita's Swayamvara. The challenge of the Swayamvara was to lift and string the bow Shivadhanush. When Rama broke the bow in half, Parshurama realized that this time as an avatar had ended, and he went to meditate in mountains of Mahendra. This is the end of the story. Do you like it? Then comment it.